Have you ever felt that by posting a photo, something about that moment was lost? As if by turning an experience into a pixel, you had handed over a piece of your intimacy to people who barely know the sound of your laughter? Imagine the scene. You were at an incredible dinner or facing a sunset that seems to paint the sky. All around you, cell phone lights are glowing, angles are adjusted, filters are chosen, and captions are meticulously crafted. But you keep your phone in your pocket. Maybe you even take a photo, but it stays there, in your gallery, like a secret. Then come the questions. Why don't you post anything? Your life is so mysterious. Or the silent judgment that if it's not on the feed, it didn't happen. Today's society has created a label for you, the low profile, the digital hermit, or someone who supposedly has low self-esteem or something to hide. But there is something much deeper behind this. It isn't a conscious decision to simply go against the grain. It's a different psychological architecture. For many, what guides this choice is what we call an internal locus of control. While the world seeks external validation, that I am fine because others say I am, you seek validation within yourself. The experience is completed in the feeling, not in the showing. It's as if you have a denser mental filter. Where others accelerate to record, you pause to process. In psychology, this can be linked to high sensory sensitivity. You don't just want to see the image, you want to inhabit the moment. For you, the camera is a barrier between the self and the now. It is the phenomenon of photo-taking induced impairment. When we focus on recording, our brain delegates the memory to the device, and we, ironically, forget the details of what we actually lived. You prefer to own your narrative, keeping your internal compass pointed toward the sincerity of the moment, rather than calibrating it by an algorithm. But if it's not out of shyness or a lack of beauty, what really happens in your brain when you choose silence? If we dive into how the brain works, we understand that those who don't post aren't missing out on anything. On the contrary, they are preserving a scarce resource, cognitive energy. Every post requires an emotional cost calculation. You have to predict reactions, deal with the expectation of the like, and manage a public image. For some people, the dopamine threshold, that pleasure chemical, functions differently. They don't need the quick click of social approval to feel integrated. Their pleasure is self-sufficient. It comes from internal coherence. There is a concept here called opportunity cost. When you spend 10 minutes editing a photo for strangers to see, you have lost 10 minutes of real connection with the person right beside you. Those who don't post have often learned to observe patterns. They've noticed that constant exposure creates a fragmentation of identity. They choose internal consistency over ephemeral approval. What the world interprets as a lack of interest is in fact clarity. It's not a flaw, it is the preservation of identity. It's not rigidity, it is the establishment of healthy boundaries. It's not coldness, it is a fire that burns inward, warming only those who are invited inside. The human brain was not designed to be observed by thousands of people simultaneously 24 hours a day. Your behavior is actually a very healthy and adaptive response to modern noise. You are protecting your persona, keeping the sacred sacred. In the end, not posting is an act of freedom. It's understanding that your life is not a consumer product, but a private work of art. You don't need a storefront to prove you exist. Your existence is validated by the simple fact that you are here, feeling, breathing, and living, without filters, without captions, and most importantly, without the need to be watched. The greatest proof that something was wonderful is the fact that you were too present to remember to pick up your phone. And that, in itself, is one of the most beautiful forms of mental health in the digital age.